Hey guys, FirstinWeather here, back at it again with another video. It is September 6th, 2018, and there's a lot to talk about. Mainly Hurricane Florence, that is the main story right now, and we still are a ways off from that potentially impacting the United States. So there still is a lot of uncertainty, but I do want to discuss it and really give you guys the latest on what is possible with that storm. So I'm on Tropical Tidbits right now, a great website that provides the latest information. This is a satellite view for Hurricane Florence. Right now, maximum winds are sustained at 60, and its pressure is 1014 millibars. The official track by the National Weather Service, if we look right here, you can see this is the 5 p.m. September 6, 2018 advisory, and as you can see, it's right now it's a tropical storm. It's forecasted to downgrade into a tropical storm before strengthening into a hurricane, and then even a major hurricane as it enters these very warm waters east of the United States coast. So it will intensify into a major hurricane Category 3 strength. And then after this is where the big question is: where will this storm go? So there's two scenarios. Let me shift to the weather models real quick. Let me go to the North Atlantic view. Give me 1 second here. There we go. So the question is, where will Hurricane Florence go? This is Hurricane Florence right here. Right here. So we're fairly confident that it's going to go south of Bermuda. Alright? This is where the relative confidence abruptly ends. Where will it go? Will it go here and make a direct landfall? Will it go like this? Or will it curve completely out to sea? Alright? I think the first option, going directly west, is the least likely option as of now. The question really is whether it will curve and hit the United States or whether it will curve and go out to sea. Alright? And so if we go back to many of the previous model runs, for example 18Z Sunday, we go, a lot of the models, most of the models did in fact show this system going steadily west and then making an abrupt turn to the east like most Atlantic storms do. Right? But now, fast forward to 18Z Thursday, GFS model has a system much closer to the coast. Alright? Dangerously close. And if we go to the 6Z run, or not this one, if we go to the, find the right run. This was yesterday when the model was being very bullish. If we go to the 18Z Wednesday run, it actually shows a landfall somewhere around DC. And as you can see from the trend, it's been trending a little further east for today, which is a good sign for people that don't want hurricanes, which I'm presuming is almost all of you. So the GFS has been trending slightly eastward. Alright, so yesterday it was like this, and now it's more like this. Alright, so it has been trending a little eastward, so that is a good sign. But if we look at some of the other models, if we look at the Canadian model, alright, the Canadian model is much more bullish on this. So it has Hurricane Florence right here. It's going to weaken and then rapidly strengthen in these warm waters right here and make landfall in North Carolina. This is the southernmost track, and then after it makes landfall, it weakens and then stalls out, giving very heavy rains for this area right here. That would be a very bad scenario for the Mid-Atlantic. Now if we go to the European model, the European is somewhat of a mix between the Canadian and the GFS, with it making landfall then for a brief time and then going back out to sea. So right now the GFS is going for a near miss, and the Canadian and European model is going for landfall and big impacts. Alright, and one thing if you would notice is that right behind this there's another system right here. And this is another area of interest that the National Weather Service is looking at, and that area right now is right here, and it's forming. Right? If we go to that area, or that information area, see if I can find it. I believe it is, no, I think I'm wrong. Let's see. Definitely not this one. I believe it's this one, but I can't find it right now. I haven't figured out the name for it. I don't know the name for it. But the point is, we are very active. We have system behind system. So as soon as Florence comes to us or misses us, we already have this area right here. Look at that. Right, so we're in the peak of hurricane season. It's right on cue. We're seeing the warming of the Atlantic. The Atlantic has been quite cool this entire summer, and suddenly we've seen lots of warming here and a reduction in wind shear, which has really allowed for these storms to fire, these tropical systems to fire up. But right now, the main story is Hurricane Florence. So now let's take a deeper look into what will cause this to either make a landfall or go out to sea. So let's look at the GFS upper dynamics. Let's go to the 500 and the height anomaly. Alright, so this is the latest model run. This is the 18Z Thursday GFS model run. This is Florence right here. And this is the jet stream right here, basically. So you have the jet stream, more of this, right? And as we go in time, we'll see this big ridge develop right here, right? And this ridge is going to be key into determining where Florence goes, alright? If this ridge is very strong, it's going to suppress Florence to the south, forcing it to go into the United States. If this ridge is weak, a very small ridge, Florence will be impacted by the westerly winds. That's how the weather flows in the northern hemisphere, west to east. It will be impacted by these winds, and it will go to the east. So it all depends on the strength of this high pressure right here, right? If we go to the previous runs, 18Z Sunday, we can see that the area of high pressure was much weaker and even non-existent. And we had this trough coming through that would have carried it out even more. So that's why the GFS model was taking it out to sea a few days ago, rather than now making it come much closer to the coast due to the stronger area of high pressure. If we go to the CMC model, we can see that it also has an area of high pressure right here, forcing this to make a landfall in South Carolina or North Carolina. What about the European model? Again, an area of high pressure right here, forcing it to go south. Alright? So right now it really is up for grabs. Where will this go? Will it make landfall or will it go out to sea? Really, it's a 50-50 probability. But historically speaking, when you have a hurricane this far north in the Atlantic, 9 times out of 10 it will go out to sea. Alright? I believe there's only one storm that has been this far north and still hit the mainland US. Alright? So statistically speaking, we have a much higher chance of seeing Florence go out to sea. That being said, this is weather. Strange things can happen. This can go into the mainland US. And this kind of reminds me of Hurricane Sandy. No one knew whether it hit the United States or would go out to sea. And it was basically uncharted territory for a storm to not curve out and directly hit the United States. So, and specifically New York and New Jersey. So this is kind of like that storm. Will it hit the U.S. or will it go out to sea? And one thing I want to analyze is the remnants of Gordon. I think it's the remnants. Let me double check. Yep, remnants of Gordon. Alright. So Gordon's just all drifting right here. Alright. It's going to be captured by a stalled front that's going to slowly move eastward. Alright. So Gordon's going to be caught here in this big stalled front. And the strength of this front, or how far north it moves, will also determine the strength of the high right here, which will impact where Florence will go. Alright. So I'm sorry guys, I know you guys want to know my forecast or my prediction on where Florence will go, but at this point I can just not tell you. We are too far out. If we do see an impact from Florence, it would be around the Wednesday through Friday time frame, somewhere around that time. But then again, that's a big if question. Will we see an impact from Hurricane Florence? So That's definitely the $1,000,000 question. If it does impact us, it would be potentially catastrophic, especially since it will be a major hurricane due to all those warm waters right here and low wind shear. Basically, have a big bubble right here of warm waters, so that would cause it to that would allow it to maintain its strength. So that's basically it with Florence. I definitely will update you guys as we get closer. My next update should probably be late this weekend, where I will have a much better look at the forecast for Florence. But right now, let's go into the long range a little bit. It's been a while. We're in early September. Time to start looking at that long range pattern a little bit. All right. So it is September 7th. All right. This is September 7th for on the GFS. All right. We have basically a warm looking pattern over the country. You have the jet stream going like this. All right. Warm basically around the entire country. All right. Continue through. All right. Now we see some troughing actually. So this is a classic pattern. So you have jet stream splitting, going like this, and then you have the jet stream going like this. This typically leads to dry conditions right here and potential storminess right here. So that's how it's looking like. That's how it's going to start to shape up later next week. All right. So that troughing stays in place till at least the 10th. Now that's Florence from the GFS. And look at that. Mid-September. Alright. Big time ridge. Right around here. And that is that high pressure, folks. And that is going to determine what's going to steer Florence. And as you can see right here, the GFS has that area of high pressure to the west than the Canadian and European models, which forces this to come a little further north and west than the Canadian model, which takes it to North Carolina, which is why it's coming in this area. Alright, so it looks like we're going to be very warm for the middle portion of September, and then after that, that pattern breaks. We see a trough finally come through. Alright, and that is what steers Florence away if it does come to this location. And then after that, we see another trough come through, and in late September, we have a ridge in the west and a little trough in the east. So a little pattern change going on. We have cooler than normal temperatures coming in the east finally, and warmer than average temperatures in the west. That's interesting to watch. We are in the negative or easterly QBO phase right now, and so that could be one factor. But anyways, guys, right now I'm thinking that the pattern is looking quite warm for most of September, with potentially drier than normal conditions in the Midwest and central United States, with potentially stormy conditions in the Northeast for a few days or the next week or so. So that's it for now, guys. Stay tuned for updates on Hurricane Florence. I definitely will be updating you guys on that, and I'll see you next time. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.